Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream. And today is Thursday, January 7th, 2021. And that means it's happy hour. We made it almost through another week. And it has been a crazy week. I mean, I don't know. I guess it was, I didn't think that magically when things clicked over to 2021 that things would be magically better. But I wasn't expecting things to get worse. So that's kind of where we're at. So I definitely could use a beer today. Here we go. Today I have another one from Surly, but I have not had this one today. It's the Surly Xtra. It's a Citra Pale Ale. That sounds pretty delicious to me. Citra hops are kind of my favorite. And not that I know that many hops by kind of name or type, but Citra hops I know. It's a pale ale that's bright, citrusy, and hoppy. That's pretty much like the way I like my beers these days. 4.5% alcohol by volume, brewed in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I'll be having one of those today. How's everybody else doing? Everyone that's listening on the podcast version, hopefully you guys are having a good run. And everybody that's watching this on YouTube later, but not live, welcome everybody. I appreciate all of you guys. Let's see. Brian Analia says, I love me some Xtra Pale Ale. Dale's is always a solid choice. I don't think I've ever had Dale's. Ronan Reviews is here. Philip Bourne is here as well. He's an overdose of noon today, trying to make up lack of proper hydration. I've been there before. I've done that before, certainly. Chris says, hi, co-family. Completely swamped by work, trying to close end of month and year financials. Kind of here, kind of not. Happy hour. That's kind of like, that's a lot of people who are working right now, right? That's how I think it's going. But cheers to everybody who's here live and listening whenever you're listening to this. This is very citrusy. Oh, this is very light. It's almost like too citrusy. It's almost kind of like a lemon. Because the can is yellow, I'm getting a lemon, or I was almost getting almost like a ginger ale, nose. I don't want to say nose to it, but when I smelled it, I was like, this kind of smells like ginger ale. But yeah, very citrusy. This is very tasty now when it's freezing temperatures here in the winter. But if this were summertime, I could drink a whole bunch of these. This is pretty fantastic. It's tasty. Not a lot of aftertaste at all. Not very bitter. I don't know if there's any IBUs on this thing. It doesn't say if there's an IBU rating on it, but if I were to guess, I would say it is very, very low. So very good, very good. I think it's almost like in the shandy territory. It's so sweet, but not too sweet. I like it. All right, and it says, hi, Kavusi and everyone. Pip's paw still sore. Pip's and his dog, if you're not familiar. And it's the second day. He's not been running, so half hour rowing for Innis and a half hour on Zwift. Very cool, very cool. David Lidstone's putting in some work. Tough 4x1Ks today. Splits are 3:15, 3:17, 3:11, and 3:11. Blazing fast. And he's working on his sub 17 project. Very cool. We'll have to go check out that video, David. Christian's here. Steven Gersdorf, Tony Young. Good to see all you guys again. David Prabhu says, good afternoon, everyone. Awesome. And it says, David Lidstone says, another good video, David. The GoPro can't cope with a Perth accent. I'm going to have to check that out now because I hate the voice activated commands and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if, and I've seen a lot of the videos that talk about people whose accents, voice assistants and things like that, can't understand. There's a funny one with an elevator or something like that I've seen before. It's an older video, but I'm going to check that out. I'm a big fan of that kind of frustration. John Ritchie says, hi, Kapuzi. We have Thirsty Thursday in Dublin. Can't beat a good pint of Guinness. Plenty of iron. Good vibes. Yeah, Guinness goes back a long way as being almost medicinal, like a recovery drink. I remember, it was around the time when I came of legal age to drinking, where it seemed to be people were like, it's good for you. People were who will go out for a run and have one afterwards because it just replenishes you. And I was like, really? That doesn't seem right, but okay. All right. Eric Rose Johnson says, good evening from Oslo, Norway. Oh, welcome, Eric. Good to see you. And Stephen Grimley says, hello from Lockdown, UK. Still allowed to exercise, though, you outdoors. Well, that's good. That's really good. Is it rationed, though, Stephen? Because I remember before, like, people were on Twitter and Strava, like, Strava hunting or, like, just checking other people's Stravas for, like, their neighbors and figuring out who's going out too many times. That was a strange time in running, I felt like. And Ben White says, yeah, haha, the two Scotsmen in the voice-activated elevator. That's the video I'm talking about. If you guys haven't seen that, just look for that. It's pretty funny. Philip Bourne says, any opinions on running shoes? I've tried, I think, one. It didn't really agree with me. I tried the Cloud Flyer, I think. Yeah, I think that's what I tried. It was more of a speed day shoe. I mean, I like the concept. I mean, I like everything on paper about On. Makes sense to me. And I love the concepts. I love like the design aesthetic, like the website, the marketing, the whole like package. Everything about On is great. The apparel is great, but the shoe just didn't work for me. And I was just like, I don't know. It basically gave me what felt like IT pain syndrome or symptoms like right away after like 3 or 4 runs. And I stopped running in it, and like instantly all those symptoms went away. So I was like, I'm not going to try this shoe. I think that here my theory has been for a long time on is that they're going to really take off once they get rid of like the cloud gimmick. And they're going that way because like their recycled shoe is going to just be a regular, not regular, but it's not going to have clouds in it. It's just going to be a midsole, like a solid piece of foam. And so I think that once they like finally pivot and realize like their brand value isn't the cloud, their brand value is their aesthetic and like their design and their thoughtfulness, then I think they're really gonna make some great shoes and make some big strides forward. But until then, while they're still like clinging to this like cloud thing, I'm not that interested. And you know, CV76 is it's not you, it's me, basically. Carlos Griego says, first run in the Saucony Endorphin Speed today, and wow, they lived up to the hype. Yeah, it's a good shoe. It's a good shoe. You know, it's like, it's not like, you know, Seth named it his shoe of the year. I gave it the same honors. And there are, you know, like better performing like race shoes out there. But as far as just like overall package, it delivers. It delivers, and I just love it. I ran in them today. I had a little bit of a strides workout today, and it's just great to run in. I like it. I'm glad you like it too. Mark Trujillo said, made it. Normally listen via the podcast during the run, but taking a rest day today. Awesome. Well, welcome, Mark. Hope you enjoy. Anyone else that's new here today, welcome to you guys, whether it's your first time or maybe your first couple times here. Today it's just happy hour. We're all hanging out. Some people are enjoying with a beverage. Some people aren't. Let me know what you guys are drinking if you are drinking something. And if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, just feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll just go from there. There's no rules, so just hanging out. Chris McLean says, exactly my thoughts on the On shoes. Love the aesthetics, though. Yeah, I think that maybe they're really tied to it, but I don't see any reason why like the On has to be tied to the cloud, because it's not like their name of the brand isn't On, you know. And even like I would go so far as to say like even a brand like Ultra, like even if one day they had like a 4mm drop shoe, I don't think that would be like fatal to the brand. You know, I just think that their brand values are not that. That's not what makes them that. You know, so. But yeah, I do like the aesthetics. Stephen Grimley is a newbie. Welcome, Stephen. And let's see, Stephen 76 says new people. Welcome to the bar. Cheers. Yeah. David Lotzos having a water. That's a good recovery drink for today. I'm you know, this is, you know, I don't really drink that many. There's a lot of weeks where like the only thing I've drank all week is at happy hour with you guys. I just haven't been really in the mood for doing a lot of drinking. So there's that. In the summertime, I usually drink a little bit more because it's nice weather and we're sitting outside and relaxing, that kind of thing. Got a lot of water for today. Luis Becerra's got some water. Stephen Grimley's got a beer, nice frosty one there, and his emoji. Anthony says he's going to be 21 next Thursday. I finally get to join Kofuzi for a drink. Well, awesome. Well, happy early birthday for you. But hopefully you're not spending your birthday in a live stream with us next week. But if you are, well, we look forward to that too. Chris Smith says, I'm drinking Four Roses bourbon. That's nice. Sounds delicious. And Scott says, I registered for a race today. New York City Half Marathon in March. It's virtual. Oh, okay. Interesting. Nice. I've been thinking about signing up for a virtual race. I don't know why, but I just feel like, I just been feeling, as much as I don't really like virtual races, I've just been feeling the itch. I'm like, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time. Let's see. Stick on a Tree says, I saw a runner with a selfie stick this morning driving to work and thought, that's Kofuzi. Alas, it was a woman. Maybe next time. Yeah, I mean, I think it's becoming more common. It's very strange to me that like that's becoming like a common thing. That's becoming normal. But I mean, I guess, these days, who's to say what's normal? All right, what? Someone had a question about the Kinvara 11. Oh yeah, Javier Villegas says, do you think the Saucony Kinvara 11 could do a half marathon? For sure. Yeah, I think it would be a good choice for a half marathon because it is a pretty lightweight shoe, and that power run is really nice in it. It's not as speedy as previous Kinvaras are, in my opinion. It's still more in like the everyday trainer category, but it's definitely something that I feel like I could race in. All right, let's see what else we got here. My mom's here. Hi, Mom. How are you? Good to see you. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Frank says, if you were in a marathon right now, would you consider carrying your own fluid to avoid the aid stations? Absolutely. Yeah, I would run with a pack on, or I'd probably need a pack, or I mean, maybe I could get by with a flip belt and 2 water bottles, like one on the front and one on the back. Because then you could hold about 20 ounces, and I usually hit about 4 to 5 aid stations, and I estimate like 4 ounces every time I hit an aid station. So, that's about right in the category. Otherwise, I could run with a vest on and keep the fluid in the back and have like a hose. I think that wouldn't be too. I think like. Connection. There we go. I'm back. It's the internet connection that just seems to be going in and out, guys. Sorry about that. I think right now, if it was like a winter event, it's going to be cold. You're going to be wearing you're not wearing a singlet. So like wearing a vest isn't like a huge deal. So that's what I would do. But I've seen other people not doing that. They seem to be fine. I haven't heard anything saying that like races are like a big super spreader event. So I guess it's okay. Because I think they're not like having people like handing the water out. It's like a table, right? For a lot of places. But I've also heard of other races where it's like there's water that you can refill your own bottle, but there's not going to be people there or little cups. So I guess it depends on the race, but I'd prefer to just bring my own at this point. Chris says, have you considered having someone else video you when running a time trial? I think it could shave a couple seconds at least. Yeah, I've thought about it. What I'd like to do is, if my nephews that are like down the street are not in our bubble because they've been like going to work and going to school. Their school is in person and stuff like that, and their parents are working. So like we're hanging out with them sometimes outside when we can be socially distant. And I guess like if I handed someone like a camera, I could be like, hey, ride this bike. I give them the Walmart bike, and I'd be like, videotape me. I was thinking that I might do that over the summer, but I ended up never doing it. They're really busy. Kids here are like just super jam-packed with activities, and they were even throughout the summer of 2020. So it's like, even when I wanted to, they weren't around, and they're teenagers, so they don't wake up before like 11 o'clock or noon. And I'm like, I've been done with my run for like 3 hours by then. So that didn't really work out like kind of how I was hoping it to or envisioning it. But I'd love to be able to just like pay my nephew, like, here's a couple bucks, ride this bike. You'll get a workout. You get some money to put gas in your car. Just follow me around on this bike. That'd be kind of fun. I'd like to do that. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not so close to any of my goals. I'm pretty far from all my goals right now, so I'm not so close to any of my goals where the couple of seconds is going to make a difference. Let's Zone asks, would you race in the Boston 8 for anything 5K to half marathon? I like it more for longer distances because there's the boost in it, and so like I would prefer it for like a half marathon all the way up to a marathon. I could see running in a 5K, but like for a 5K, I feel like 5K, I don't really want to get the dancing shoes on for that. So I would that's when I'm like, all right, all those shoes that my feet aren't strong enough to run an entire marathon on, let's get those guys out. So like normally I'd look at like the Adizero Pro, like the Meta Racer, the Speed Elite, like those are the shoes that I would kind of look at. But like the Boston 8 certainly could do the 5K, 10K. I think it'd be a great shoe. Andre Young says, you ever train in Vibram 5-finger shoes? I've never done that. That's weird. I got the 5-finger, the Injinji, like the finger socks, the glove socks. What are they called? Glove socks. I've got those and I kind of like them. But I don't know. I'm not, it has not like, I don't know. I think I'd probably do, there's that one brand of shoe that's like minimalist zero drop shoe. Its logo kind of looked like that logo that Reebok had for a couple of years. It kind of looked, I forget what it is, but I'd probably try running in one of those first before I did the Vibram 5 fingers. Chris Dyke says, ask the wife and kids to jump in the car and film you 10-minute style. Yeah, I don't think she would like doing that because she's usually sleeping too when I'm running. Although she's usually awake by the time I get back. But then if she's gone and I'm gone, then we've like left grandma and grandpa with the kids. And if we're gonna leave grandma and grandpa with the kids, normally we wouldn't be doing it so I can go run. We would do it so we can go out to dinner. But like, where are we going to go out to dinner? Actually, there's lots of places you can go out to dinner in this county, but we're not going to go in any of those places. Martha says, "Go. You tried asking this yesterday. Over time, we've seen more people using shoes like the Next Percent on the track and for 5Ks. Wouldn't a shoe like the Takumi-sen be more efficient for the 5Ks? I would think so. You want something a little bit lower, but I think. Are the Takumi-sens, are they plated? I'm not sure. I think what people are looking for is they really like the plate in the Next Percent, and that's why they're using it in the 5K. And they like the bounciness of the ZoomX. So they're liking those things about it. And I think that, it just might be one of those trends that for a while people are going to like not like racing flats anymore. So like even shoes like the Zoom Streak, that got a very, very mild update. It basically didn't get an update. And like the Adios 5 got a very mild update. Although I felt like that shoe got even faster. So like, I think that would be, if you want that like closer to the road feel to it. But those, the Adios 5, for example, it doesn't have a plate. It has a little bit of the torsion plate in it, but you're not getting that spring. You're not getting that bounce. So I think that like these days, everyone really wants something springy for when they're racing. And so that, I don't know if it's a trend or if that's just going to be all the way it is. But I've run in the Zoom Streak for a 5K, and it's a great shoe. It's got Phylon in it and a TPU shank. But it's just a very like pingy experience. I really like it. Jay-Z says, why not skip the middleman and have carbon plates installed on our feet? Like Wolverine, like that. I guess maybe. Chet Langford says, if I could have one plated shoe, which one would I choose? If I could only like run in one, I'd probably pick like the Vaporfly 4%. I really like that one. The Next Percent is also good, but I think it does better at faster speeds than longer distances. That's kind of been my sense to it. My fastest marathon is in the Next Percent. My second fastest marathon is in the Vaporfly 4%. So, I mean, I've had success with both, but those are really good. And the 4%, you can run slow in that one, and it's pretty comfortable. It's not very cost effective, but I mean, if we're talking about only one, that's probably the one I'd pick. Martha clarifying, the Takumi-san isn't plated, but I would think the bounciness makes the shoe less efficient for sheer speed, shorter distance. I get it for marathons, but yeah, I think that the 5K though still isn't quite that fast where like the bounciness would be a detractor. I'm not sure where that mark would be. Maybe in the mile? Because like people aren't wearing that for like a mile race. But what were people wearing like the last time the Fifth Avenue Mile was run? That's an event that I really want to do. But people were wearing still like racing flats for that shoe. I don't think people were. I mean, I guess some people were probably showing up in Vaporflies, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know that 5K is the part where like a springy shoe becomes less efficient. I'm not sure. Benoit says, if you like the Reebok Floatride Energy, I think you would like the Run Fast. They do everything better than Floatride Energy, maybe apart from very slow runs. Yeah, I mean, I'm planning on reviewing a lot more and running more in Reebok this year. What makes me nervous about them is like that they're kind of like up for sale a little bit, right? They're like there hasn't been a transition yet, has there? So it makes me nervous that like, you know, our project's on hold. Are we really getting what Reebok has to offer, or like Adidas not putting money into them, or what? I don't know. So that makes me a little bit nervous about what's going to happen there. But the Floatride Energy 3 that just came out, I think it just came out, right? It looks nice if it's what I'm remembering, but maybe we'll get that one soon. Emma Wilhelm says, anyone have consistency issues with the Cliftons? She bought a third pair and they're extremely narrow. And she has a narrow foot. Can't use them. That's weird. There are times where I get a shoe and I'm like, I don't know. I have to double check the size on it just to make sure I have the right size. But I'm not really experienced that with the Cliftons. But maybe that's happened to other people. Kurt Steege says, yo, what's going on? From New Jersey, just hopped on a treadmill. Awesome. So I got jogging on the track in Alphaflies last week. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to give that guy the benefit of the doubt and say he was like warming up. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you saw him the whole time and he was just jogging. But like, I know that there is a contingent of people that will buy those shoes, Alphaflies, Next Percents, the Vaporfly 4%, and use them for all their runs because it's just easier. It's really easy on the knees. So people with like bad knees, they'll run in them for every run, jogging or not. And, you know, at first I used to be like, man, that's silly. But now I'm just like, whatever, do what you want to do. It does kind of look silly, but, you know, I run with the way that I've been training, even in speed shoes. It's not like I'm going out for like a 12-mile, 15-mile run at one consistent fast pace or progressive pace. I'll have like a warm-up phase. I'll have a work phase, some rest intervals, work intervals, things like that. So like there'll be times when, you might, at any given point when a car passes me on the road, I might be in like a $250 plated shoe and shuffling my feet. So that's certainly possible. But I'm guessing from the way you wrote that, Kurt, though, that you were eyeing this guy and he was jogging. That's okay. Yeah. Scott says, how many plated shoes are good to have? I don't think that there's and Sean Marshall says, I'd rather have a dinner plate. Scott, I don't think there's a definite answer to that. I don't think a person needs more than one, but they're nice to have. They're not must-haves. They're very nice to haves. So yeah. Dominic Lopez, what's the longest you ever ran? 50K. That was it. Chris Dyke says, it seems the consensus out there is training in plated shoes is not ideal. That would put the NBTC in limbo. I don't think it puts it in limbo, though, because like if you're saying that like training in plating shoes is not ideal, I think what people are talking about is like using it for recovery runs, using for everyday runs. I don't think that even the New Balance Fuel Cell TC is intended for like a recovery run day. I would use it, if I would, I like it as a race shoe. It's a little bit heavy for a race shoe, but I kind of like it more than the RC Elite. which the naming conventions are very strange, but it should be TC Elite or just RC. But why is it RC Elite? It's like they changed two things. I don't know. But I would like racing in that shoe. But like, let's say you wanted to go TC and RC, I would use the TC for the bulk of my runs, and then like my really important runs, I would run in the RC Elite. So like if I had like, those workouts that you have that are like your checkpoints, am I fit enough to hit my time goals? Like this is a workout that'll tell me if I'm getting closer, how much more work I have to do, or if my goal is out of reach. Like that's the kind of runs that I might save the RC Elite for, and that way it's as fresh as it can be for race day, and then do the bulk of my workouts in the TC Elite. And if you're doing that, that means that at most you're running in that shoe like 3 times a week, 2 times a week. You're not going to be doing more than 3 workouts a week. And you might not necessarily even use your carbon plated shoe for every one of those workouts if you're doing 3 workouts a week too. So yeah, so that's kind of like where I'd put that. Namaste says, why do the women's shoes have such better color schemes? Sometimes I'm just like, they seem like, I don't know why, like, I mean, yeah, sometimes I'm just like, why do we really even still have a difference? But, or like, why are we having different colors? Shouldn't they just be different, like sizes and shapes, but just different? The color should be the same across both genders. But with some of the Asics light shoes that are coming out, I prefer the women's over the men's, like almost every time. I don't know why. Scott says, I saw a guy in the gym locker room today wearing the white Alphaflys. I wanted to ask him if he was a runner, but I was only wearing a towel and did not want to be creepy. I think that's a good call. It's a safe bet. I mean, you can probably see him again. Maybe next time you'll be clothed. Sean Marshall says, how do you guys think the runners from the 70s would react to see carbon plated shoes? It would be a funny reaction video. I mean, basically, like it's Frank Shorter and like Whitmore and like those guys. I mean, what does Frank? I mean, I think when Ryan Doozer made a video where he went on a run with Frank Shorter because they were both up in Boulder, and I feel like they talked about that. I'll have to go back and look at that again. But I feel like Frank Shorter's general like opinion, if I can summarize him, and like this is just off like from my recollection, I don't want to pin him to this generally, but I think like his idea is more like, like imagine how much better we could have been if we had the training and the materials and like the stuff and the science that we have now. And he's kind of disappointed that given all the things that we have now, that American running isn't better. He's also extremely pissed off about the state of performance enhancing drugs and doping in the sport too. But about carbon plated shoes though, I don't think he loves them. I think that's what I remember. I'm not sure. Let's see what else we got down here. Ben Y says, Yanis Kouros made quite an aggressive Facebook post about cheater shoes. Yeah, I mean, I think that for a while, like in the beginning, when only Nike had like a marathon super shoe, there was a lot of like that talk about the mechanical doping. There was a lot of that discussion. And then that went away after a couple of years when other shoe brands started having their own. No one was talking about mechanical doping anymore. So, I mean, I think that it's open for discussion. We could talk about that. I don't think it's mechanical doping. Does it change the sport? Yeah. But I mean, like at that point, then it's like, well, then, I mean, swimming has gone through similar, growing pains. Cycling has certainly gone through a lot of that too. And it's like, okay, we can just make everyone run barefoot and no hydration available on any route. That's one way to do it. But we're picking an arbitrary line. I think that there's a very good argument for that it's mechanical doping, but this is the state of running right now. Yeah. Voltaire Souza says, hi there. Why is the endorphin speed $20 more expensive in Europe than the Pro in the US? I'm not sure. I'm not a pricing person. Pricing, I think, is a really complicated art and science, but I don't pretend to understand any of it. And in fact, I'm frequently confused by it a lot of times. Chet Langford says, what are your thoughts on the wide shoes shaped like your foot? I generally like them. I like the idea of it. I'd like for there to be more of them out there. My pinky toes are just really getting beat up and kind of like gross looking at this point. It's more than an aesthetic thing. I'm just like, oh, I don't know if that's normal for me anymore. So like, I wouldn't mind if there were more options out there that gave my foot a little bit more respite. But on the other hand, like if I spend a lot of time in an Ultra, it's not like my toes are like, reverting back to their natural state or anything. So I don't know. Running Ag says the Nike Zoom X Invincibles, where are they? I don't know. I've been seeing on Instagram today that people are like eagerly anticipating when they're going to be released. I don't know if whoever's job it was to like schedule like the launch online for that shoe just got like distracted with everything that happened in the United States yesterday or what. Maybe that's it. It's probably not it, but I don't know. I don't know where they are. Sean Marshall, look at the streaming numbers right now. Yeah, wow. Welcome, everybody. Runner Jay says about the carbon-plated shoes that he still calls them cheater shoes. But now that Adidas has a good shoe, I guess I can retire the name, but I don't support Nike. Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like how a lot of people feel about it, too. As long as everyone has like somewhat of a level playing field, then it's fine. But on the other hand, I'm just like, should we stifle innovation in it? Or should we make it that like non-elites like me can have these shoes, but once you get to the pro level, it's kind of like there's aluminum bats in college and then wooden bats when you get to the pros. Like, I think that there's a good argument for that. Like if you want to win, if you want prize money in the Boston Marathon, there'd be like two or maybe three sets of rules. One is like doping rules. Two is you go off gun time, not chip time. And three is you have to, fit the new like equipment requirements. So, I mean, that's something that we could that is certainly worth thinking about. But I think the thing about that is like, why would we limit that? If there is technological innovation, so let's say I can make like a Zoom Streak 7. It's a Zoom Streak 7. We've got a foam in there. Maybe we put some sort of mix of Phylon and ZoomX foam, and it's nice and squishy, and your knees take less of a beating. There's still a TPU shank, but your knees take less of a beating than in say like the Adidas Sub 2 shoe. Remember that one? That was just Boost, a real thin layer Boost. Like, is that wrong? Is that a cheater shoe too? I don't know. I don't know how to draw that line. I guess the line would just be like no carbon. But then it's like, okay, fine. Giant Zoom Air pockets, Nike would say, right? So then we're like, no, nothing too bouncy. Then Nike would say, fine, Zoom X. So like we gotta. I think that where it makes sense to introduce like, here's where we should limit the potential to do better with a rule that will intentionally cap our potential peak performance is when it's not safe, right? So, I mean, that's a whole concept between performance enhancing drugs, at least the ones that are prohibited, is like, one, it can give you like an unfair advantage, but so can being well-financed versus not well-financed. So like, that's not the whole thing. The thing is that like performance enhancing drugs are really dangerous for the athlete to take. And so if they're not dangerous for the athlete to take, then we celebrate them and we call it Martin Gel and everyone buys it. But if it's dangerous for the athlete to take, like EPO, it could really harm you by going through that kind of regimen, then we don't have it, right? And so like where are we harming ourselves by having the carbon plated shoes? Like if it was like you can run real fast, but it might break your fibula, then I'd be like, maybe we shouldn't have carbon plated shoes. But that's kind of my take on it. I have a very pretty liberal take on like what should we ban and how much should we encourage innovation. I guess I'm very much on the side of innovation on it, but I'm willing to entertain the ideas of what's the other side of that. Let's see, here's another one. Harry says, with the high cost per mileage of the top plated shoes, do you think they're worth it for most non-elite runners? I think I can't answer that. I think it's worth it if that's could be an individual basis. Like I said, I don't think it's a necessary thing for people to have. I think people can run really great marathons in a Boston 8, a Hyperion Tempo, a Hoka Rincon. There's a lot of shoes that are not plated that people can have that are more affordable too, that people can run in. But like, let's say you're a non-elite like me, and I've been busting my butt for several years now. I've been trying to improve my sleep. I've been trying to improve my nutrition, and I've been working on my race plans and like rearranging my life to do as best as I can. There's one last thing I can do after all the work is done. When the hay is in the barn, as people say, I can make sure I'm in like the best shoe that's going to help me succeed. So that's kind of how I see it. And whether that's worth it for me to pay that for the dollar per mile, that's up to me. That's between me and my wife and our finances and, my feet, my money kind of thing. So I don't begrudge people that want to do that. So, let's see. Yeah, Sean Marshall says, I'll have what Sarah Hall is having. Yeah, I want that shoe too. But there was a couple of there's like there's 3 different prototypes that were in the marathon project from Asics. So they're firing, they're ready to go. The shoe's not ready, but like they're bringing it. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, mechanical doping. Remy says mechanical doping sounds like punishing the engineers and nerds for leveling the playing field. Yeah, I like the innovation to it. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna scroll down to the bottom. I think I missed out on you guys. Remy also says the same innovation that created carbon plated shoes also brought us wicking shirts and 2-inch shorts forward always. Yeah, and also like the like half tights. Yeah, that became popular. I know they existed before the Breaking 2 projects, but it had never occurred to me that I could run in a half tight until, well, not immediately after the Breaking 2 project, the first one, maybe a little while after. Like I think in the year after that, then I was like, maybe I'll buy a pair of half tights. Junk Shoe says, what's a good shoe for bad knees? We've been talking about carbon plated shoes. I think some of the Vaporflies are very good for bad knees, but to like a more serious answer to that, I like the Bondi 7. That one's nice and soft. I like the 1080 version 10. I haven't tried the 11 yet. And I like the Triumph 18. Yeah, Frank says, like, if you're paying $200 for an entry fee, $1,400 for airfare, $300 for a hotel stay, it's hard to say spending an extra $80 on the shoes is too much. Yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of people aren't paying all those things, and won't go to those expensive races, because it's those kinds of races expensive. But like, it's the idea of like, you really want to see how low you can get that number, right? And so you're doing everything you can, and the last thing you get to do is, try to buy the better shoe. Yeah, he says a lighter singlet might give someone an advantage. And where was it? Was it during an event? Is this something that Nike did or they're planning on doing? They've got like little stickers that you can put on your leg that's supposed to make you more aerodynamic or something like that. You got to put them in the right direction, otherwise it makes you less aerodynamic. Like, I'm not sure. It's a weird thing. I do think though that like the innovations in singlets has been really nice. Some of those really expensive ones, I'm like, why is this possibly so expensive? And then I'll get one and I'll be like, oh, I see why this is expensive, but I want all of them. No. Stevie76 says golf regulates the spring effect of club heads. Yeah, they certainly do. And like also like the divot patterns in the balls and stuff like that. So like, yeah, isn't that I think golf is pretty well regulated too. I mean, that's an interesting thing. I mean, it's not like it's hurting any of the golfers, but I suppose at the other hand, it's just like, but you don't want to make, I mean, if the ball gets driven like crazy, then it's like, then all these courses need to be redone, and that'd be too expensive. I mean, is that what it is? I don't know. Yeah. Scott's got some Dogfish Head, slightly mighty low-cal IPA. Nice. Remy says the stickers are amazing, by the way. Getting some for my bike this summer. Really? Yeah, Elizabeth says, like in swimsuits, they got banned. Yeah, I mean, the swimsuit, like the speed suit got banned. And it's another interesting point. It's not like it was hurting anybody. It wasn't like detrimental to a runner's health, which is kind of like my normal thing. Like, is it bad? Is it going to hurt people? But yeah, I mean, that's something that they chose to. I'm not sure that that's the right call, but yeah. Frank says, is Kipchoge faster than Bekele because his head is more aerodynamic? I don't know. Bekele's got a little bit of hair. Sometimes he's got a mustache, right? So Kipchoge is just bald. So it might be. I mean, I guess if you're talking about the limits of human performance over the course of 2 hours, that may make a difference. It could. Raul Armando Garcia Ramirez says, how reliable are metrics in Garmin or Run Analyzer regarding overtraining? I don't feel tired, but I don't want to push too much. I think they're only as reliable as your heart rate monitor. So for me, like for example, today I couldn't find my heart rate monitor today, so I went off my watch, and I'm confident that like the watch thinks I worked much harder than I actually did today, and so it depends. You know, it's gonna depend on that, I think. So it's not just taking in your mileage into account; it's taking how hard you're working into account. And so like if for me, I can't get a good reliable reading from a wrist. I have to have a chest or an armband monitor. Then it'll be a little bit more, I take it with a grain of salt in terms of like, okay, maybe I should make sure I am eating really, extra, like, focusing more on getting in clean foods. Maybe I should make sure that, definitely stay away from the beer today. Not doing that today, but other days. And then, I need to make sure I'm hydrating. I need to make sure I'm taking it very easy on my next recovery day run. So like, that's kind of the things that it would make me do. I don't know that I'd ever be like, all right, big workout today, 15-mile run. We're going to do a progression. Ooh, Garmin says I'm overtraining. Let's just do a 3-mile recovery run. I wouldn't do that, but it would give me a sense of like, okay, we're getting into territory where I need to be a little bit more deliberate about what I'm doing. Yeah, and Karen says, I would listen to how you feel in yourself more than what government recovery hours say. Yeah, the recovery hours thing, I have no idea. Like, and who can anyone use that? I mean, I don't know. As someone that runs tries to run every day, like that never makes any sense for me. So, I don't know. Phil Orman says, I avoided overtraining today thanks to a bag of Oreos. That's funny. That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah. Tommy Hackett says, sorry you didn't enjoy the Ultra Torn. Is a zero drop carbon plated shoe next? I mean, is Ultra making a carbon plated shoe, or do they have one? I thought they made a racer, didn't they? Other than the Escalante racer. I mean, I'm interested in it. I don't have any plans for it. I ran in the Carbon Rocket, which is a 1 millimeter plated shoe. I really like that shoe. I just wish I could run a marathon well in it. But, I've run a marathon in it, just not very well. Scott says his Dogfish Head is his running beer. 95 calories, 3.6 carbs, 4% alcohol. Oh, that sounds pretty good. As long as it's tasty too. Yeah. Let's see. Stephen Grimley says, wasn't the javelin being thrown so far that IAAF added weight to it? I didn't know that. That's interesting. Speaking of field events, something showed. I follow. I don't know if it was. I think it was. Maybe it was USATF. One of the accounts that I follow on Instagram suddenly posted a whole bunch of videos of masters pole vaulting, And I was like, oh boy, I don't know. That looks like a lot of fun. I don't know how I even get involved in pole vault as a master's athlete anymore, and it's been 20 years since I picked up a pole, but I don't know. That looked really fun. So like, I don't know. Maybe does anyone, I wonder if anyone's ever pulled off the pole vault steeplechase double in masters running. I don't know that I could pull off a single in either of those, but I mean, just competing in those two events, like if someone was like, oh, hey, you're going to a masters track meet? Yeah, what are you going to do? Oh, steeplechase and pole vault. I wanted to do the weirdest events on the track. Oren said, oh no, he just joined. Member, my house tested positive for COVID. I know it's 100%. I think I have it. Oh, well, Oren, hopefully you guys have an easy go of it. Yeah, don't worry about losing the fitness. Get through it first, and then we'll figure it out once you're on the other side of it, man. Be healthy. SB says, hey, everyone, I'm wanting to run my first half marathon this year. Any recommendations for a race day shoe? Currently on the glide rides, but I was thinking they may be too heavy for the race. If you love the glide rides, I would go with the Evo ride. I think that would work out really well for your first half marathon. And it keeps you like in the Asics family. So that would be the first one that I would look for. So, well, good luck. All right, let's do a couple more and then I got to get going for a day. Lucas Lully, haven't seen you in a while. Well, if you've been here, I missed you. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. Kafuzi, I use the recovery hours just to understand why sometime the pace will be a little bit lower than normal. Then I take note not to speed up too much. That's a good point. That's a good point. You use it as a measure of like how tired, how easy, how much, how. I think it's a nice way of being kind to yourself. That's nice. I do like that. Harry Hughes says, it's interesting watching records get smashed. The Atlas Stones world record got smashed this year. I don't know what Atlas Stones are, but sounds amazing. Atlas Stones world record got smashed this year in just 16 seconds. At what point do you make it harder because people are just getting too good? I don't know. I mean, the marathon's pretty tough. And I mean, going back to like the talking about like the runners from the 70s and what they would think about shoe technology today. I mean, American distance running isn't, at least for the men, isn't like substantially better than it was in the 70s. I mean, there's a deeper field right now, but like, especially compared to the rest of the world who has all improved over the last 50 years, the United States kind of has, but they haven't at the same time. So, yeah, so I don't know that we're going to worry about that with the marathon, but I don't know. I don't know at what point you make it harder. I mean, maybe that's where, like, you know, the same thing with golf when they were limiting the bounciness or the spring or the impact velocity. I don't know what they're measuring exactly. And the same thing with Major League Baseball where that's wooden bats. You know, at a certain point, you just make it so it's like, so it stays within certain kind of, not limits, but, you know, you're not letting the technology run away with it. I don't know. I don't think we're there at running. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. That running guy says, doing my first live stream tomorrow. Any tips? For me, it's overwhelming a lot in the beginning because there's like chat, like screaming up and down, like on the left-hand side. And then you're trying to like look at the camera and making sure everything's working. Just like settle in and don't worry about filling in all the noise. What you think might be a really long gap where you're not saying anything isn't that long a gap. So just get your bearings, and people are there to see you. So you don't have to, like, if it's your first one, don't worry about knocking it out of the ballpark. Just make sure everyone's comfortable. Just be like, it's like being a host, having people over at your house. Just make sure everyone's comfortable and having a good time. Everything else will take care of itself. Scott said, who invented pizza in a cup? I don't know what that is, but I want it. Is that a such thing? Pizza in a cup? That sounds like the Kodiak cakes thing that we had the other day, where it's like you mix it and you just microwave it and it's like a big, puffy, mushy pancake. JC says, do professional runners get to deduct the pizza expenses if they eat it as a recovery food? I don't think so. I don't think food is ever going to be like a deductible expense. I think that unless like you were running a camp, and then at the camp is a business or part of the business, then those food things would be, I think, deductible. I'm not a tax expert, but I would think that would be the case. But I just think that, like, I don't know, when like Steph Bruce is going home and like making food, I don't think that she and Ben Bruce get to like write that off because they're both professional athletes. Leona Wong says, and we'll end on this because you guys know that you guys always start talking about pizza whenever I gotta go. Favorite pizza restaurant in Chicago? Mine is Rinaldi's. It's in my neighborhood. It's like two or three blocks away from home, and it serves a not Chicago pizza. It serves just like a regular slice of pizza. It's not exactly New York style, but it's the closest thing that I can find. In my neighborhood, that's also close to a New York style slice. I've been going there for over a decade. So like I love that place. I love going there, even though it's not like the cleanest restaurant I've ever been in. We just kind of ignore that and enjoy it's very much just like a pizza place, family owned business. I really like it. I miss it, but yeah. All right. One last question, because this is a big one. How do you best reheat pizza? Air fryer. That's the correct answer, everybody. Air fryer. It's really good in that way. Otherwise, I just microwave it. I know that you could do like the frying pan method and all that, but I usually just end up burning the pizza when I do that. So I might stick it in the oven for a little bit. Air fryer works out really good. You can't fit a lot of pizza in an air fryer, unfortunately. So the oven usually is a good way. If I have the time, I usually don't when I'm eating leftover pizza. So microwave is normally how it goes. All right. I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys did too. Tomorrow's video is going to be, I'm going to talk about my runner's knee stuff, all I did there, mainly because I went out for a run today and my GoPro was dead. So I have no running footage for today. So I was like, okay, well, I'll film all the stuff that I need to film for my knee, my warm-up routine, my post routine, some of the exercises that I did, the stuff that I used. I'll be doing that. That'll be tomorrow's video. And then we'll do another live stream, 3 p.m. I'll do another giveaway because I'm not giving away the stuff that's here that I need to clear out, or that I'd like to clear out of here fast enough. So we'll give away something else at the live stream tomorrow as well. I don't know what yet. Probably a massage gun, a used one, but a massage gun. Yeah, I got a pair of shoes I need to give away too. But yeah, so that'll be tomorrow. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody.